Hey there, thanks for checking out Snappjack. My name is Brady and I'm the creator of Snappjack. Snappjack is basically a bridge service that makes it easy for app developers to create apps that have dual interfaces. One interface for a user going through a traditional GUI and another interface that exposes the underlying business logic and functions through a bridge service that I call Snappjack and exposes that as an MCP endpoint for AI agents that the users have for their personal use to be able to interact with that app at the same time. So in the video today, I'm going to show you a demo of Snappjack in action so you get a sense of what kind of applications these are and what you can do with Snappjack. So let's get into it. Okay, so if you want to follow along, the first thing you're going to want to do is go to demo.snappjack.com. It'll bring you to this page where you can see that we're featuring two demonstrator apps. They're very simple, but they get the point across of a dual interface application. The one we're going to look at first here is called Pipster. It's a basic dice rolling game where either you can roll the dice or the agent can roll the dice. But it's a simple test to show that the agent can control the application. Over here on the left, you see that we're using Claude Desktop. Basically the same process that we go through to connect Claude Desktop to this application is going to be the same, whether it's ChatGPT, Claude Desktop, Claude on the web, or Cursor, or even more advanced agents like Claude Code. These are all agents that allow you to connect MCP servers to, and any one of them will work with this demo. So let's go on over to Pipster here. The first thing that you'll see is that we've got our basic GUI here. There's limited stuff we can do. We can roll the dice. We can hold on to some dice, roll the other ones. We can reset, get rid of all of the current state. And so we can interact with this GUI the way we might expect any traditional app to look. The second thing you'll notice here is that up in the top, there is a status here describing the connectivity to Snappjack, to the bridge service. And what you're going to want to do is click on that and reveal what the connection details are. Now, for every instance of the app that gets launched, so it doesn't matter how many users there are, every user that goes to this website will get a unique MCP bridge, so that when you have the MCP endpoint, this URL, this is a magic URL that allows the agent to connect to the application, and this will be unique for everybody that connects. So as long as you don't share this with anybody, it's secure. To get this connected to our agent, we're going to want to copy this MCP URL. And over in Claude Code, then we're going to click on this setting icon here for manage connectors. We go into manage connectors and we're going to create, add a custom connector. So we're going to call this Pipster. It's helpful to name these according to the specific functionality, and you can see that all of our tools that were defined in the app are actually named accordingly as well. So we're going to add this with no additional OAuth or anything like that. So we're going to add this server, and what you'll see is that this is now saying it's connected, and now in the connection status you can see that we have the indicator that the agent is active. So now we can start a new chat and turn on our Pipster MCP. So in this case, we're going to ask Claude Desktop to use Pipster to roll a full house. Great. And when we submit that, what you'll see is that Claude will now, looking at the tools and looking at the descriptions of the tools, begin to choose which tool to call. In this case, in all of the demo apps, I've got some sort of system info initialization that's helpful. It basically gives the instructions about how to operate the app and the tools that are available and some of the higher level concepts that are being used. Now you can see that it chose to, at the very beginning here, roll dice. It has it has now found the tool to choose which die to keep. It has chosen to keep the pair of fours, which is a good choice. It's interesting that this app I often use it as a basic intelligence test to see how smart agents are and following the instructions here, because it's a fairly straightforward request, but a lot of the agents will get confused. As you can see in this case, it had 4 4s, but it still chose to only keep 3 of them because it knew it was actually, its objective was to go for a full house. So now you can see that actually it has gotten lucky enough to roll those final 2s and has actually rolled the full house. So at this point it has stopped. Because this is a dual interface application, I can actually come in still and interact with this application. I can do other things. I can select the 2s now and say, I've updated the selected dice to keep. Now roll for a 3 of a kind. So in this case, we already have a 3 of a kind, so we'll see how smart it is in being able to follow the instructions. It should decide to throw away the 4s, which it does, and proceed from there to see if it can roll the 3 of a kind. Interestingly, it's updating the dice plan. That was just essentially to keep the same dice. And in this case, it did get lucky enough to find another 2. And so it has stopped here. So here's an example of how interacting with the app, both through the agent and through the GUI, it's possible to kind of collaborate with your own personal AI agent on an objective. So that's Pipster. You can see here that we've got another demo application which we call DrawIt, and we'll demonstrate that one next. Okay, next up we want to take a look at the other demo that we have called DrawIt. This is a basic drawing application, a simple canvas that you can draw different shapes with. You can do some basic editing of those shapes. You can move them around. You can resize them. So it's a fairly straightforward application that you might find to create various drawings. In addition to that, because this is a Snappjack-enabled application, we do have an agent interface for it. And if we open up the connection details for this application, you can see the various tools that we have. There are 9 different tools that the agent can use to draw and manipulate the objects on the canvas. In this particular case, we're going to be using a different agent. So rather than Claude Desktop, we're going to have a look at a more sophisticated agent, which is Claude Code, which is normally used for writing application software, but it's actually a very sophisticated agent that is quite capable at interacting with applications as well. So we're going to go on over to the CLI tab to get the connection information for Claude Code. And now we can add the new connection. Claude MCP list should show that we are indeed connected to the bridge, and we now have the updated information here. So at this point, we can go ahead and launch Claude, which will bring up the agent for us. Now, my favorite sports team is the Denver Broncos, and this last week they actually won their game. So I want to create a post that is celebratory for that. So in this case, I'm going to use the web search capabilities of Claude Code to go out and find information about that Broncos win. So I'm going to say search the web for the score of the latest Denver Broncos game and who they were playing, and create a post using DrawIt to celebrate. Okay, and so much like the other demo, there's going to be a lot of tool calling that we have to approve for the agent to be able to use the various tools. In this case, it's the web search that it has the access to already. And we're going to have to approve the tools for the Snappjack app as well. And much like the Pipster, the very first thing that it's going to want to do is go out and get the system information. And this is going to give it the instructions about how the canvas is set up and how to use all of the various tools that it has access to in DrawIt. So you can see there, the second thing it did was to go get the status. Now it's doing a clear so that it can start fresh and implement the post that I asked it for. So at this point, it should begin to go off and create the various shapes. In this case, you can see that it's actually able to create a lot of threads in parallel, so operations happen quite a bit faster with Claude Code because it can execute a lot of this at the same time in order to go off and create all of the objects that are on this canvas. So using a more sophisticated agent generally will create a faster result and a more compelling result because it has a lot more sophistication in its agentic loops. So here's our celebratory post. It created the correct outcome here, which was the Broncos won 21-17 against the Eagles. And it even highlighted here that it was a comeback victory, which is accurate. So at this point, we've got a good post, but the advantage of this being a dual interface application is that if there's anything that I don't like, I can come in and actually manipulate these objects directly because I have access to it as much as the agent has access to it. So I can do various things and I can move things around. And in this case, I think I've probably made it worse. So I can come back here and say that I've moved some things around and don't like what I did. Can you restore it? And because it has the context of what it did, it should be able to fix all of the things that I did that messed it up because it has access to the context of that drawing and all of the objects and where they are. And so you can see it actually recovers that quite easily. I can also ask it to kind of evaluate itself. Generally, these things are not very introspective unless you force them to be. So we can say, looks good, but take a look at that last screenshot and identify 3 improvements to make. Okay, add celebratory elements, include star shapes, sparkle effects, create a more visual energy, and enhance the decorative circles. And let's say, sure, that looks good. Also, be sure to use the polygon tool. So I'm curious to see how well it can create generic polygons. We have this polygon tool that allows you to create any kind of generic polygon shape, and so I'm curious to see if it'll use that for maybe the stars or something like that. Interestingly, here we've got some overlapping elements. We'll see if it can catch that because it is getting the feedback on the screenshot itself. And as one might suspect, it again is not very introspective, so we'll prompt it to have a closer look at that and see if it can make some corrections. Yeah. Okay, so clearly it's going to have a bit of trouble getting this one closed out. So I think what we'll do is just make some adjustments ourselves to get to the point where we like it. Yeah, I like it. So again, you can see kind of the advantage of having the dual interface. AI gets you kind of the quick wins to get past the blank page problem, bring in context from outside of the app into the app because it's connected to the outside world, and allows you to continue to refine for some of the more fine adjustments. And if there were bigger things like, we needed to spruce it up, that was a number of operations that certainly having the AI go off and take care of that on its own was something that saved us a lot of clicking around and clicking and dragging and whatnot. So anyway, there you go. That's the DrawIt demo. If you're interested in trying these demos yourself, you can go to demo.snapjack.com and connect your agent to the application and give it a try. If you want to create your own application based off of the Snappjack bridge, you can clone this entire project. It's open source, available in GitHub. So you can clone this project, vibe code your way to your own application that you can connect an agent to. And if you're interested in that, just reach out to Snappjack, hello@snappjack.com. we'll get you an API key so that you can create your own applications. Thanks for checking us out.